The way that we control audio recording in the XC15 is on the main screen using the function button, which is the FUNC that's highlighted orange in the top right corner. If you click on the menu button on the back of the camera, you'll see that our menus are broken up into categories. So there's a camera category, there's a file creation category, then there's an audio category, an audio setup, and various settings that you can change. You'll notice that a lot of these settings that are in the camera are grayed out. The reason is because there are certain functions that are disabled depending on the kind of connection you're using. If you're using the internal mic versus you're using the 3.5mm jack, or if you're using the audio module, there's going to be some different functionality. We're going to see, so the way that you can adjust the trimming and the attenuation on the inputs changes because the audio module is not connected to the camera. So I'm going to click the menu button and go back to the main menu. And the function button can be touched on the touch screen, or you can use the joystick, the click up, down, left, right, and push in, and it will change the function. So I'm going to click in and I'm going to select function. And you're going to see we've got all these different functions, right? Your iris, we looked at these in the previous video. Your iris, your white balance, and here where you see the microphone, these are the audio settings. And as you can see, as I'm talking, I'll get a little closer and get it sound a little bit more present. And I'll back up a little bit. And now you can hear my audio coming in through my studio microphone. I'm going to switch over to the Marantz so that you could hear that. So right now what you're hearing is the output of the XC15 with the Marantz microphone plugged into it. If I get a little closer, you can hear the microphone be a little bit more present. And if I back up, you're going to see that it's going to be a little bit less present. Now, what we're shooting for when we are recording audio is for the meters to be moving while people are talking, while there is active sound, not room noise necessarily, but when people are talking, we want those meters to be moving dynamically and to be peaking sort of in between -10 and -20, which is where you see the meters going right now. What we don't want is we don't want this meter to go into the yellow or into the red because it's getting hit too hard, right? We want to try to avoid that. And so we have a couple of different things that we can do. If when I'm on the highlighted on the right-hand column, the M with the microphone next to it, if I click in, I now have control and I can switch over between manual and automatic. And while I'm on manual, I can change the input level of the microphone by selecting one of these two arrows. If I select the right arrow and I push in the selector, it will increase the gain of the microphone. It'll turn it up. And then the microphone is going to get a little bit louder, and you're going to see as I'm hitting the mic, I'm going to go into the yellow or into the red, and I'm going to turn it up. And you may notice that this microphone is kind of noisy. It is. These are not great preamps that are built into these cameras over the 3.5mm jack, which is why a microphone like the Marantz is good when you're shooting B-roll, but it's not really very good when you're shooting dialogue because the preamp is very noisy, and we definitely don't want to have a noisy preamp. The other alternative is to put the camera into auto mode, and I want you to listen to the auto mode when using the Marantz microphone. Now, you will probably notice that the audio that's coming in, my voice is a lot louder, but this signal is a lot noisier. So what's happening when you put any camera on auto is that the camera is taking the available sound that's coming into it through the microphone, and it is automatically adjusting the gain of that microphone based on how loud the input is. So this is actually a good way to record sound without risking distortion or overmodulation, meaning that I can hit this mic pretty hard and it's not going to go into the red because the camera is going to automatically adjust the gain in order to adjust for that. The problem with that is that microphones that are inherently noisy, or preamps in the camera that are inherently noisy, when you put them on auto, that function takes, when it turns the volume up, it turns the volume up on everything. And there is a real risk that you're gonna have noisy audio when you're using the camera in this mode. So my advice would be to wear headphones. If you're gonna use the Marantz, wear headphones, put the camera in manual mode, and adjust your level the way you want it to be, right? Set your level, and you just have to jockey the level to make sure that it's not gonna distort. Because in the case of an input like this that's not particularly quiet as a preamp, and the 3.5mm jack on the xc15 is not terribly quiet, if you put it on auto, it's going to make all kinds of horrible noises, and we don't want that. And the only way that you are going to know that you've got good quality sound going to your files is if you listen on headphones, because what you hear on the headphones is what's going into the file. And you may not realize that there is noise being introduced somewhere in your signal chain if you don't listen on headphones. So make sure you do that. Now, as stated in previous videos, in the intro video, the 3.5mm jacked microphone, here let me switch over to my studio. So now you're listening to me on my studio mic. Now you notice that the quality of the audio that you're getting right now into the xc15 is through the audio module that's plugged into the camera using XLR cables and a professional mic. The preamps that are in the module are very high quality and they're pretty quiet. This module is set to, the gain setting is on auto right now so that it can adjust the volume automatically without me having to mess around with it. Now, the quality of this audio is really, really good compared to using the 3.5mm jack on the xc15. Keep that in mind. The only way to know, and this is a repeat from what I've said repeated over and over again in this video, wear headphones. It's really, really important. So if you're going to be shooting in the field, you're going to be shooting B-roll, you're really only looking to get ambient sound, and you want to get better sound than the internal microphone, using the Marantz microphone and the 3.5mm jack is a really good solution. Not a great solution for recording dialogue or interviews or sit downs. It's better to use other and more professional microphones for that. I hope this was helpful in helping you learn how to operate the Canon XC15 and using a 3.5mm jacked external microphone. Thank you for your attention.